Vijay. You can sit, both of you can sit. Okay, it's live. But you have to click on end screen. This will the this.
Good afternoon, everyone. I, Dr. Richa Sarvasai, Assistant Professor from the Department of Chemistry, on behalf of Government College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Khandala, warmly welcome you all to the inaugural function of VIDNYAN DHARA 2023. It is my great privilege to especially welcome Professor M.K. Janarthanam, Chairperson of Goa State Research Foundation, who will be delivering the inaugural talk of VIDNYAN DHARA. Welcome, sir. It is also my pleasure to welcome our distinguished guests, Professor Nian Martian, Dr. Mahesh Majik, Dr. Mahadev Gavis, and Dr. Alison Albuquerque to today's function. Following the last year's very successful Goa Science Lecture Series, where 65 lectures, demonstrations, and public astronomy programs were held across Goa, this year, Goa State Higher Education Council and the Directorate of Higher Education intend to organize a first of its kind Vidnyan Dhara, a mega science series. Big round of applause, please. This mega science series will comprise of 250 events that will include lectures, demonstrations, and public talks that will be held from January 12th, that is today, to February 28th, 2023. It will be based on science, innovation, engineering, and technology, highlighting the role of science in day-to-day life. The resource persons will, of course, comprise a large team of experts from CSR NIO, NCPA OR, IIT Goa, NIT Goa, Goa University, BITS Goa, and college faculty from science disciplines and professionals from the research and development industry. To formally welcome you all, I now request Ms. Kirti Gavis and Ms. Ranjita Sawant, who will be presenting a welcome song.
स्वागतं सुस्वागतं स्वागतं 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 सुस्वागतं मंगलसमयी मान्यवरांचे मंगलसमयी मान्यवरांचे जोडुनी कर स्वागतं जोडुनी कर स्वागतं 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 सुस्वागतं स्वागतं 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 सुस्वागतं बालबालिका सर्व मिळून या रसिक जनांचे स्वागत करूया बालबालिका सर्व मिळून या रसिक जनांचे स्वागत करूया समरस होऊनी उत्सवाला समरस होऊनी उत्सवाला गाऊया गीत मंगलम गाऊया गीत मंगलम स्वागतं 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 सुस्वागतं स्वागतं 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 सुस्वागतं बालबालिका सर्व मिळून या रसिक जनाचे स्वागत करूया बाल गमप गमपा गम निसा गम सरी निसा बालबालिका सर्व मिळून या रसिक जनाचे स्वागत करूया स स स स रे 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 ग ग ग ग म म म म प प प प द द द द नि 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 स स स स बालबालिका सर्व मिळून या रसिक जनांचे स्वागत करूया स स स स नि 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 द द द द प प प प म म म म ग ग ग ग रे 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 स स स स बालबालिका सर्व मिळून या रसिक जनांचे स्वागत करूया बालबालिका सर्व मिळून या रसिक जनांचे स्वागत करूया समरस होऊनी उत्सवाला समरस होऊनी उत्सवाला गाऊया गीत मंगलम गाऊया गीत मंगलम स्वागतं 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 सुस्वागतं स्वागतं 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 सुस्वागतं स्वागतं सुस्वागतं स्वागतं सुस्वागतं स्वागतं सुस्वागतम्
Thank you so much for the musical welcome, Ms. Kirti and Ms. Ranjita. To proceed with today's gathering, I kindly request Dr. Ashish Knight, Assistant Professor from the Department of Chemistry and Coordinator of today's event, to kindly escort Professor M.K. Janarthanam, Principal Professor Kumnikala Samant, and Professor Lian Martian to the dais. I now request Ms. Rutuja Naik to welcome Professor M.K. Janarthanam with a plotted plant. I request Ms. Akshaya Mandodkar to welcome Professor Nian Marshall with the potted plant. I request Ms. Saloni Chauhan to give a floral welcome to Professor Purnakala Sawant. I request Ms. Samruddhi Kerkar to give a floral welcome to Dr. Ashish Knight. We would also like to welcome our guests in the audience. So I'd like to request Ms. Saloni Chauhan to welcome Dr. Mahesh Majik with the potted plant. I request Ms. Rutuja Naik to welcome Dr. Mahadev Kavis with the potted plant. I request Ms. Samruddhi Kerkar to welcome Dr. Alcin Albuquerque with the potted plant. I would also like to welcome Ms. Vandana Sawant with the potted plant. Ms. Samruddhi. I'd like to request Ms. Rutuja to kindly welcome Dr. Asha Gehlot with the rose. Thank you all. Knowledge is deeply connected to illumination. So I request the dignitaries on the dais to begin this function on an auspicious note by lighting of the lamp. Thank you so much. request our principal, Professor Purnikala Saman, to address the gathering and welcome you all.
Good afternoon to one and all. Thank you, Dr. Richa. Respected eminent speaker, Dr. Janarthanam, Chairperson of Goa State Research Foundation, under the leading of Director for Education. Sir, at the outset, I welcome you as well as I congratulate you for your selection on such a prestigious post in the state of Goa. And since we are all our students in the Goa University, we know your leadership qualities and your vision for research. And you will meet up with our expectations, also our difficulties, and promote us for taking the research to the front fold. Now coming up to this Vidnyan Dhara is a really a brilliant idea by Directorate of Education. This is third year that it is running with, but this time, as Dr. Risha said, it is a mega event. Yeah, earlier we used to start in February. Now we have started in January with having lectures and different talks by the eminent personalities from various eminent institutions, over 250. This talk should not be taken as just a talk. They are being motivated with a foundation. Some ideas are there, which should take our youth to think, to ponder over after the talk. The talk is maybe for 1.5 hours, but it should lighten the torch in your mind, the thoughts in your heart, so that it will remain wrinkled for years forward to take the society for the best of the peaceful and healthy and happy life. So this Vidnyan Dhara will really provide a good platform for various researchers to communicate and to translate the ideas within the youngsters by means of seniors to juniors and juniors to just youngsters, a platform of co-networking all the India Goans youth, postgraduate, undergraduate, higher secondary, and PhD scholars to have a networking of not only all the subjects in science, engineering, and technology. So this is how it is going. It is a fundamental foundations in science, technology, and engineering, under the umbrella of Vidnyan Dhara. So I wish a big success. Dr. Mahesh Majik is a coordinator from Director of Education, who is taking the lead to take up this, rocket, I can say. And I'm blessed that Director of Education has given this opportunity to hold, an inaugural function in our institution. And this is the second inaugural function we are doing in a day today, because morning we had a, beautifying our, political science department and history of Goa, cultural preservation of cultural history of Goa according to NEP. We have started with Dayanand Bandorkar lecture series, and Advocate Ramakant Khalam has given his eminent keynote in the morning session, and we have got yet another person from science faculty today, and talking on pollination, pollinators and food security. Uh, Today is also a day, birthday of Swami Vivekananda, and youth are in front, and old people are going to deliver their ideas. Not only this project, because this is a live streaming going on, so many people will be joining us via Google Meet. So I hope that this will be an enriching session for our students and across the students who are attending these programs. I wish a great success to all the future plans of Vidnyan Dhara, how it is going to take up, and beautiful moments from science point of view as well as from literature and language point of view. So, sir, all the best, and thank you once again. Congratulate once again for you on holding on that post, and I welcome Professor Nishan, and then the team of Director of Education, Dr. Gavas, Dr. Yeah, and Vandana, and all my faculty members who are sitting here, Dr. Asha Gehlot, my dear students, I welcome you all for this first inaugural session and wish you the best and delightful lecture by Professor Janarthanam. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for that warm and very inspiring welcome. To tell us a little bit more about what exactly is Vidnyan Dhara, I now request Professor Nian Martian to say a few words.
Thank you, Dr. Richa. A very good afternoon. Of course, Principal, we are old in age but young at heart. So, a very good afternoon to the dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. On behalf of the State Higher Education Council, we call themselves GSHEC, and Director of Higher Education, I welcome each one of you for this inaugural session of Vidnyan Dhara of 2023, which is a mega science series. I and all of us as a team, we take this opportunity to brief you all about this program, which will be continual for almost 1.5 month long event, which is scheduled between 12th January and 28th February 2023 till the National Science Day. Exchange of knowledge is imperative both for the teachers and learners that upholds lifelong learning with an objective to provide the youth of Goa wide opportunities to enhance their versa of knowledge and to interact with leading intellectuals across Goa. Goa State Higher Education Council and Directorate of Higher Education Council, Goa, Government of Goa, made this attempt to institute Goa Science Lecture Series in the year 2022, last year, to bring in prominent faculty and scientists who can inspire the undergraduate, postgraduate, and higher education students, high schools of various disciplines and serve as role models in various spheres of education and careers. Thus, the ever first Goa State Higher Education week-long science lecture series was organized in collaboration with all the science colleges in Goa from 7th March to 16th March 2022 to create an appropriate platform for the students to update their knowledge and to keep conversant with the modern developments in various fields of science and technology across the globe. The totals of 65 lectures were conducted during the last year's event at all colleges in Goa and 25 higher secondary schools, in addition to public astronomy events. Based on the feedback received from the resource person, audience, and the host institutions, this event had an overwhelming response, and hence we continue the science lecture series on a much bigger scale this year onwards, which is called the Mega Science Series and its identity as Vidnyan Dhara from the year 2023. The annual editions of Vidnyan Dhara will be continued during the period of 12th January to 28th February every year from henceforth. Objectives of this Vidnyan Dhara, a mega science series, are as follows: to create a platform for the students of all disciplines to get acquainted with the latest science, technological developments, and update knowledge, to inculcate scientific attitude, research value, create interest in science, and obtaining guidance to pursue higher education in universities, to enable the student participate in the academic sessions by experts from various research institutes and university to gain modern knowledge, to provide the youth with the opportunity to interact with highly accomplished academicians and researchers. Finally, to make the students known about the study and work opportunities in field of science and technology. The uniqueness of this event is to energize multidisciplinary education approach amongst the faculty and students in Goa. Hence, the students from various disciplines, including arts and commerce, will be participating in this lecture series, who have very rare prosthetic opportunity to either study science or even listen to such researchers speaking to them. Well, regarding the program now that we present, a total of 250 events in the form of lectures, demonstration, exhibitions, public lectures will be organized at Goa University, five colleges, five faculty from the university, of course, colleges about 50, Higher secondary will be at 90 institutions, and high schools about 85 in Goa, apart from public lectures, which are about 20. A total of 160 resource persons will be participating in this event. The sessions will deliver at accomplished experts and academicians working at various science colleges in Goa, Goa University, Goa State Higher Education Council, BITS Pilani, scientists from CSR, CSIR, and also from the National Center for Polar Ocean Research. Every day, about 8 to 10 sessions will be conducted during the period of 12th January to 20th February 2023. So, in all, we wish all the faculty and students a bright future in the academic and research excellence. Wishing you a fruitful evening as we listen to our main lecture today, and thank you.
Thank you, sir, for giving us such a deep and informative insight into what exactly Vidnyan Dhara is. Before we move on, I would like to request Dr. Ashish Knight to formally introduce our distinguished speaker and resource person for today's function, Professor M.K. Janarthanam. Sir.
A warm good afternoon to all of you. It's a great pleasure to introduce the speaker with us, Professor M.K. Janarthanam, Chairperson, Goa State Research Foundation, who is going to talk to us about pollinators and food security. Sir has done Masters and MPhil from University of Madras and PhD degree from Bhatyar University, Coimbatore. He has taught for 33 years in Goa City. He held the position of Senior Professor, School of Biological Science and Biotechnology at the time of retirement in May 2022. During his tenure, he has completed 3 major projects. He has received Professor V. Rajan Gold Medal of Indian Association of Angiosperm Taxonomy in the year 2005 for the contribution to the field of Angiosperm Taxonomy. He has been awarded Goa State Teachers Award for the excellence in higher education in the year 2020-2021. 6 plants have been named after Sir. Sir has guided 12 PhD students. Sir has published 85 research publications, edited 3 books, published 2 books as an author. He had also received 3 books. He reviewed 3 books. Further, he has important contribution to the botany, such as new taxa. 1 new genus has been published. 15 new species has been published, and 1 new variety has been published. Sir has visited abroad in countries like Germany, Australia, and Spain for delivering lectures, attending conferences, and doing collaborative research work. He has served several committees and at national level and international levels. During his tenure, Sir has held positions such as Vice President, Botanical Society of Goa, April 1996 to March 1999, Secretary Outstation, Indian Association of Angiosperm Taxonomy, 2006-2008, Executive Council members, Indian Association of Angiosperm Taxonomy, Vice President, Outstation, Indian Association for Angiosperm Taxonomy in 2015-2017, Head Department of Botany, Goa Institute, June 2012 to May 2014, as a Dean, Faculty of Life Science and Environment, Goa Institute, November 2014 to October 2018. He has also served as Vice Chancellor acting Goa Institute in 19 August 2022 to 3rd September 2020. With this introduction, I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Well, after listening to that introduction, I'm sure you all are very curious and looking forward to listening to sir's lecture. So before we go on to that, I kindly request the dignitaries on the dais to occupy their seats in the audience. Yes.
Good afternoon. I wish you, rather than wishing, my greetings on this Youth Day. You know, today is birthday of Swami Vivekananda. Why I am bringing Swami Vivekananda, I will tell a little later. And I am happy that Goa State Higher Education Council as well as DHE has started this. And this year in a very big way, 250 lectures, it's not a small thing. Between two great days, that is today, Youth Day and Science Day on February 28th. It's going to be different expertise which will be introducing science or its application or its importance, etc. to the students at a different level. Personally, I would have loved a lot of students from arts faculties, social sciences to be here. Those who are doing science already know the science. They are the one, as users, should have been here. And ultimately, any scientific achievement, innovation, should reach the people. That is why we have to work together. If we divide them into science and non-science, it's not going to help. And I am thankful to Professor Nyan, who was telling that everyone will be involved in this. With this, now I'll go. First, let me thank Goa State Higher Education Council, DHE, as well as Kandola College for giving me this opportunity. And this is my first event, official event after taking up, and I'm very happy, and I will remember this forever. Okay. Now we will directly go. And what is this? Pollination and food security. Oh, I'm a chemist. How am I connected to this? I'm a microbiologist. How am I connected to this? Or I know I am from some other faculty. How am I connected to this? That is the purpose why I have chosen this. You know, most of us know what is pollination, but still, those who have forgotten the fundamentals, I am going to start little bit. Please forgive me those for those initial 3-4 slides, because understanding of that is very, very important if we have to see what is the importance of this. We know pollination, but we take it for granted. We don't even feel about it. It is the same case with any science innovations. Initially, people will say, oh, then when it becomes an application, part of day-to-day life, we don't even bother. For example, you take your own mobile, which is in your hand. How many of us feel that how much of technology, science, innovation is involved in this? 15, 20 years ago, we were not having this facility. We were having only, one solid rock to talk to. Prior to that, we were having only landlines. Prior to that, even those landlines were not available. You have to apply and wait for decade to get your landline. So we have seen all these things, but we don't even bother. A cell phone which is in our hand, I remember when we bought our first computer, those youngsters, others may be knowing, people were jealous of us. You know why? Our hard disk space was so much. How much was that? 40 MB. Because others in the university were having only 20 MB. Prior to that, there were no hard disks, only floppy disk, one operating system and one for saving. See, that is the leap of our scientific innovations. So we take it for granted. Whenever I tell this to my students, just they laugh at me. Oh, it was like that. Yeah, there are so many things to tell, but let me go to this. So pollination is one. We take it for granted, and we don't even feel about it. We don't even understand the importance of it. So my purpose is to explain that. in as simple terms as possible. Okay. We will change the slides. Shall we do it? You have something. Okay, now a little bit of fundamentals. You take any organisms, two different type of organisms. I'm talking about different species. For example, me and my dog, two different species. Okay, we have some kind of interactions. There are different kinds of interaction. Some are beneficial to both the organisms. In some cases, one will benefit, one will not get any benefit. In some cases, both of them will be enjoying negative benefits, means both of them are losers. So we have so many types. But here, only one interaction I'm going to talk about. The first one, if you take species A and species B, because of their association, interaction, both of them get benefited. Okay, we call this as mutualism, which we use in our everyday terms. Okay, we have some mutual interest, so we get benefited. All these things we talk about. Now these are the fundamental slides. You forgive me, but I want you to understand this. What is pollination? Pollination is nothing. There is pollen in anthers. This pollen should be transferred to the stigma. One is male part, another one is female part. This process is known as pollination, which we all know, so I will not proceed further. There are different types of pollination. One, if the pollen from the same flower, from the anthers of a flower, reaches the stigma of the same flower, we call it as autogamy. Autogamy means self-uniting, okay, union. Another one, flower from plant, one plant, pollen of a flower from one plant reaches stigma of another flower of the same plant. That we call by a technical term known as geitonogamy. Both are self-pollination only because it is happening within the same plant. Okay, it is almost like marrying within the same family. We don't do that. Okay, plants also avoid to a larger extent. Now you go to another side, cross-pollination. You look at the flowers; they are not having any connection. Pollen from one flower of one plant reaching the stigma of another flower of some other plant. Some other plant means same species. This is known as cross-pollination, technically known as xenogamy. Xeno means stranger, right? Strange union with the stranger. That is what we call, right? Or allogamy. Allo is also different. This is very important. This cross-pollination is very important. Why it is important? If you look at even human beings, okay, you forget pollination for some time. Why each one of us are different? Why we are able to survive so well? Why we are able to know, in spite of all the diseases and other things, have immunity and proliferating in this world, is because this kind of marrying across the communities and all. Okay, it has happened several times throughout. None of us can claim that we are very pure from this lineage and all. We are all mixed. That we have to accept. This is the success for the whole human species. Same way, this cross-pollination is important for the plants to what is that? Not to be affected by the disease, to survive, to have all kind of adaptations, everything. This is required because the genome combination has to happen. I think there I will stop. Okay, that is the importance of cross-pollination. Now, we will see how it happens. There have to be some agents to carry this pollen from anther to the stigma, especially cross-pollination. Normally what happened, uh, wind and water used to do this when in the geological past. Okay, now also it is happening, but most of the plants in the geological past only wind and water used to carry the pollen. But what is the probability of a pollen going and sticking to the same stigma of the same species? The chances are very, very rare. So lot of pollen used to get wasted, right? To avoid this, it is like, no, I want to give chocolate to one of you from here. No one is carrying it. What I do, I take a handful of chocolate and throw so that one will come and reach you. Remaining chocolate is not reaching the intended person. You understand? So, over the evolution, through the evolution, they have adopted something. They started employing courier, like what we do. These couriers are the animals. Okay, okay, I am here. This is my pollen. Please reach it to the stigma of my own species somewhere else. So cross pollination will happen. What are these animals? Mostly insects. Some other invertebrates are also there. Birds are there. Mammals are there. But we will restrict to something because time will not be there for us to discuss everything. So this is what we call as animal pollination. Okay, we have various terms. If it is by insects, we have a term for that. If it is by birds, we have a term for that. Among the insects, if it is by butterflies, there is a term. If it is by beetles, there is a term. If it is by bees, there is a term. Don't worry about all those kind of things. But what I want you to understand is, insects are carrying out a lot of pollination in this one. So if you look at, you must have heard about ecosystem services. I will not go into the detail. This is a service provided by insects to the ecosystem, to the nature. I will put it that way. Okay, so that we all get benefited. When we say services, we look from our angle. You understand? When they do some service, it is beneficial to us. What is this service? How it is beneficial? That is the crux of this whole lecture, which I am going to proceed now. Now let us talk about the diversity. We can talk about diversity for hours together, but for this slide is enough. You need not even worry about that. You know, most of the plants we see around which give flowers, we call them as flowering plants. There are about 352,000 species in the world, known plants. There may be few who are yet to be described. Same way, if you look at insects, we don't have any count. Even estimation says it is somewhere between 2 million to 30 million species. Because we don't know. We don't have expertise. We don't have energy. We don't have money to work on this. Mostly we are killing them even without knowing. That is the diversity. Let's not bother. Even if you consider as 2 million, it is 20 lakhs. Too many species. And if you look at that image there, among the plants, flowering plants constitute 87.7% of all the green plants. Of this, 90% of the flowering plants are pollinated by animals. That means only 10% is pollinated by wind or water. Within this 90% of animals, within that 99% is pollinated by insects. That means insects play an important role in our life. How was it? let us go back into geological past to understand what is this? What are the evolutionary benefits? One, these are the organisms which brought this many species, diversity among the flowering plants. We said 3,52,000. Why 3,52,000? Because these were pollinating and increasing the diversity. We can compare it like, why each one of us is different? That is because of the crossing of the genes among the people. Same way, there we are talking about the species. Because of this crossing of the genes, you get a new species and new species, like that they evolve. So 3,52,000. For them, these insects have played an important role. One. Two, if you look at this graph, it's a geological time scale. I will not go too deep. Cretaceous period here, Cretaceous period here. When we say Cretaceous period, it started about 145 million years ago. And if you see seed plants here, the graph is going like this. That means the diversity is increasing. Same way, if you look at that side, pollinators, their diversity is also increasing from Cretaceous. There is a positive correlation between the flowering plants diversity and the diversity of the pollinating insects. That means there is some intricate interaction between pollinators as well as the flowering plants. This is enough. Then gene flow and genetic diversity within species. Actually, when I talked about human beings, each one is different. Why we are all different? Because we have slightly different genetic makeup. How it happened? It happened through various reasons, including mutation, but rather than that, it is a combination of the genes which produces new types and morphotypes, etc. That's why we are all different. Okay, that is the evolutionary significance, and these are all very important for the survival. Now, that is the fundamental I want to give before we actually go into the subject. Now you might ask, you were talking about they are like couriers to take pollen from anther to stigma. Why should they do it? A courier fellow will not do it unless you pay money, right? Even Swiggy, they have their own cut there. So why should they do? There are reasons. One, they get rewards. Rewards in the form of nectar, in the form of pollen, in the form of resins. For some species, it is very, very important, especially for bees. Then also oils. This is the courier charges which they get. Okay. And beforehand, they go there. First, they take the reward. Along with that, they take the pollen and go to the next pollen. That's how we see this. Right. So we understand this. How do they know that there is a consignment to take and deliver somewhere and they will give something? For that, I have to tell, okay, any courier boy, please come, I have something. No, I have to put some advertisement, or whatever it is, or I have to call, or something I have to do, like OLX we do. So here, the plants themselves advertise. How do they advertise? One is color. I was wondering, when you gave yellow flowers, I said, okay, it's fantastic. Thank you very much. When you gave the pink flower to Professor Nian, I thought maybe that is better. I should have had it. But why all these colors? Because advertisement. That is why we are all wearing different color dresses and all. If it is only to cover ourselves, any gunny sack would have been enough, right? we go to branded ones, we buy something, all our 3/4 of our salary we spend sometimes on dress. Why do we do this? So this is the advertisement. No, it's very important for the plants. Why they are so colorful? Some are not so colorful. What are they trying to do? Some people cannot afford, but within their means they have to do some advertisement. They do, okay, and they balance. We will look at that. And same way, smell, fragrance. Oh, that is why Zai, Zui, or whatever it is, no? Near the bridges and all, when they sell this much 100 rupees, 75 rupees, we stop and then we bargain and we buy it. Okay, the fragrance, especially for moths and other things, night blooming flowers. That's why Zai, Zui. The fragrance is very important. This mild fragrance can go to miles and they can attract the moths. Right? Same way, there are nectar guides and one. I will show the nectar guides a little later. And size. Why some flowers are so big? Why some are so small? Whether really from distance the insects can see this? In that case, what attracts them? If they are very small, really, what strategy they apply to project? These are all very, again, interesting stories. We will see. So I asked and I told about nectar guides, how these insects perceive the whole thing. For example, what you see or what I see is not the one these insects see. You look at this first two flowers, one is pink, that is what we see in visible light. But most of the insects, they do not have any perception in red light, but they can see in UV. So that is how they see. Same way you look at this uniform yellow flower. This is what we see, but what they see is this. Altogether different. Okay? This is also the same. The truth will be same, but each one of us will perceive differently. Same way, what we see, they don't see it, but they see it very differently. You look at that, now outside periphery is white and in the center it is red. These are the nectar guides. From their distance, if I am an insect, if I see, I know that, oh, that is the central point where the nectar is there. I straight away go there, fly. These are known as nectar guides. You look at the flower that side. You know that flower, right? Pure yellow throughout. But if you put it under UV and photograph, it will be like this. Okay. So, this is how they perceive. There are nectar guides and they look in UV wavelength. It's very important for them. Okay. To perceive where this nectar is, how to approach the flower, etc. Right. Now again I am asking a fundamental question. Is it worth visiting a flower? How much a flower can you know already? Some flowers are this much. How much nectar will be there? I have to fly all the way and get it. And what is the composition of the nectar? I know, we all know that it is sweet. Is it sucrose or glucose or fructose or the combination of it? What is the proportion? Interestingly, wonderful studies are available. And you look at this different types of dots, right? They talk about the concentration. One side it is top is sucrose, this side fructose, that side glucose, and each dot, color dot, represents different group of insect. They have their own requirement, so they will be concentrating there depending upon what is there. This is only one factor. There are other factors. What is the color? What is the shape of the flower? What is the depth of the flower? All these things matter. I am not going so deep. Later on, if you have any doubts, you can ask me, I will explain. Otherwise, I will be exceeding the time. So, like this, you have different types of animals. For example, you must have seen in YouTube or somewhere hummingbirds going and pollinating. All of them will be red in color. Even here, sour, which comes end of this month or beginning of next month, flowers, big red flowers, only birds will be there. You won't see the insects. So red color is always associated with higher mammals. They can see in that. What do they do by this? They avoid the competition. Okay, red color you can't perceive, so I will do that. Under UV I cannot perceive, you do that. Okay, there is a division, not that this division is complete. It can be overlapping. Okay, that's what they do. Okay, right. Now, whether all the flowers have nectar, okay, they are supposed to have, but sometimes they may not have. How do they know? Now, you look at this, you know this, lantana, which is very common. We have seen this combination. You see, some flowers are purely pink, some are yellowish and creamy, some are just buds. And usually, the nectar will be there only in that, creamy and yellow color. In pink, there will not be nectar. Oh my God, then what happens? Now, before going to that, I will tell you something. Are we on live stream? Okay. No, I wanted to make some story. No, nothing. Anyway, I can tell that everyone listen. You know Santur soap advertisement. You know, you go there, someone go there and look at, and then mama karke someone run it. But I also tell this to, on a lighter side to my students sometimes when I teach all these things. Those days, 40 years ago, I am talking about, and the man was already telling principal man that they are old and all. I am with you, sir. No, that is, number is, age is only a number. I am as active as I was in 20, academically. So, I tell students, especially the place where I come from, there may be girls, but you are not supposed to look straight away and all this thing you can't do. But what we do now, we start looking from down. Touring is there. That's all. Elimination over. You don't pass it. Or you happen to look somewhere here. Oh, ring is there. Okay? Or okay, you happen to like directly somewhere here. Okay, Mangal Sutra is there. Over. No more. You don't waste energy. You don't put them. No. Look here. An insect is going to take the nectar, and there is no nectar in few flowers. It will be cheating. Next time, insect will not go there to pollinate. So what they do, especially younger flowers, there will be nectar, and with in all probability, this younger flower will get pollinated. Once they get pollinated, they turn their color into pink. There will not be nectar, or very, very minimal nectar. They don't go there. Okay, so they are not cheated. But you might ask a question: if they are pollinated, why this corolla has to be there? Okay, like any other flower, it can be there. That is where the ingenuity, the evolution. What happened? These are small flowers, right? For example, in a distance, only one girl goes, boys cannot even notice. When they go in a group, it is very easy. That is why, in our culture we have all the ladies will join together, younger one, older one, they go to temple. That is where everything used to happen. Cooking, all those kind of things. So no, it is always nice to look. Everything has got some basis. I am explaining that here in the plants, right? So, if they have to see from a distance a small single flower, they cannot observe. They cannot notice. So there must be something around, right? And so that From distance, this bunch can be observed, but when it comes closer, they know where the nectar is. Okay, it happens so beautifully. Okay, that is why most of the time now the Oscar time, which is going to come soon, when everyone is having some sleep medicine going, why some heroines come like some big, some 2-3 people will be holding at the back and sweeping the whole floor and going, because that is the focus. Person is same, 5.6 feet or whatever it is. This is what happens. These are all the, literally we ate the nature. What is happening in the nature, actually we ate, right? So this is it. That is why all these old flowers are there. And this is also advertisement, like, last flat available for sale. Only one flower is there, and here sold out. Okay. This is what basically they do. Why am I talking all about? This is the beauty of the pollination. We don't even think about what goes on there. Pollination, no, I know. Pollen going there to the stigma. Some insects do it. I mean, that is life and death for them. Availability of the nectar, provision of the nectar, and they have to be sustained throughout the year. That is why the diversity. That is why tropical countries are blooming with diversity. Actually, teeming with diversity. Why? Because they have to be sustained throughout the year. Okay, I'll come to that when it comes to application. Right? This is little okay. Okay. Now this is not alone. There are a lot of flowers, some of them which you must have seen, they change color with the time. Okay. These are all the indicators. I will not go further. Now there are some specializations. It's very interesting. And you look at this plant. This is an orchid from Africa, Madagascar especially. Someone presented it to Darwin, 19th century. This is known as Darwin's orchid, Angrecum sesquipedale. Doesn't matter what is the botanical name. Darwin being Darwin, he didn't say, oh, beautiful. The moment he looked at the flower, he said, oh my God, there has to be a moth which has got long proboscis, because this one, okay, this is known as spur. Nectar will be here. If some insect has to take the nectar, it should have that much long tube to put inside and take. And considering the color and the size and all, he said there has to be a moth with such a long proboscis. And you won't believe, it took 100 years for the people to actually look at that moth. That is the moth. You look at the proboscis, like going with a big straw. So even if it cool drinks is in principal's room, from here I can put and then I can have. Right? And what is the length? Almost to 40 centimeters. That's amazing. That is evolution. The pollination, when we talk about, no one else can pollinate this. It is one-to-one relationship. Even here, why? So that I am sure no one else will come and steal it away. There is a person, I will wait for him or her, he will come and do it. Right? That's what happens. But there is a problem with this. When one-to-one relationships are there, that is also a problem. Especially here. I'm not talking about the human being. I will talk about little more special mechanisms. Figs. Whenever we eat figs, which are very nice, tasty and all, some vegetarian can also imagine that you are automatically taking some protein from some insects. Okay? Because the whole thing is an inflorescence. Inside there are flowers. Some insects like this, these are known as fig wasps. They enter through this small hole. They carry pollen from some other, this one, enter, pollinate, At that time only female flowers are open. Pollinate and die there. And these eggs will hatch, insects will come. By then male flowers will open. They make the male will see that it makes way for the female, and male dies in the process. Female carries the pollen and goes to the next one. Amazing. You take any, and these wasps are very specific. Mostly this fig species, this wasp species only can go. Another fig species, some other wasp species, right? But there are other stories, layer after layer in this. You see this, it's a long this one. These are parasitic wasps. They cannot enter inside and they don't want to sacrifice their life. What they do, they know when these people enter inside, they go outside, from there they put that tube, they inject the eggs inside. So that like crow and quail, same way. Because of pollination, the seeds will develop. No? If seeds and fruit has to develop, pollination has to happen. That's very important. I thought I will insist that point a little later. Right? So this goes on. This is next layer of interaction. Another layer is there. To catch these insects and eat, there will be ants going around. It's beautiful. You can go to any remote tree and observe these things. It's really beautiful. You will enjoy. So don't think that when we talk about science, science is only rockets and robots and technology. That is also science. It is required. That's of different level. But this is everyday science which our people have observed, not knowing that they are doing science. They knew the importance. So how much they knew the importance, even centuries ago in Middle East, to make date production, more date production, they used to cut one, what is that, inflorescence of date male, this one, and they go dust it on the other female. They were not knowing what is pollination, what is the role and all. They know that if you do this, the production will be very high. Okay, so this is the science we are talking about, right? Okay. And this is another. These are known as brood site pollination. The breeding site, because of that they pollinate. This is another example. This is one is yucca moth. What they do? Explain. This is the ovary. They go there and lay their eggs inside, and they collect the pollen, make a ball, and they put it here so that it will definitely pollinate. Why? Because seed development is very important. Because their children are there inside. Some of the seeds they eat away. Remaining seeds will be for the plant to propagate. It's a mutual interaction. So all these kind of interactions are going on in the field. These are all other specialized mechanisms. These are known as light windows. It will be dark. All the light will be, anyway, physicists are there. Okay, I can show you that. There are light windows. When sunlight comes, all light will focus somewhere here. And there are amines. Chemists are also there. These require little more temperature, high temperature to evaporate. So these amines will come and they attract the insect. Sometimes this is so stinking. For you it is very bad, but some insects get attracted only because of that. So they go inside, get trapped and pollinate. Each one I can talk 1.5 to 2 hours, so I will not go into it. Just to show the difference, variation, and there are so many things to study. That's what we are doing here. This is another. Something like this we also have in Goa. This is not from Goa. That is Cotoneaster. We have mostly on, even on cashew plantations, mango plants, and all it will come. What is it? You look at the flower. The one which is in brown color, it is known as lip or labellum. It looks like exactly like a female insect. So male insect get fooled. that it is a female insect. Not only the shape and size and color, the pheromones, the smell it emits is exactly like the smell emitted by the female insect. Two different kingdoms. One side plant, another side animal. There is no connection, but how the parallel evolution has happened and which converged. Okay, so these are the things. Of course, it thinks that it is a female insect. It tries to copulate and then it pollinates. It's a cheating act, basically, right? That. Now we are coming to the second part. So far we have discussed the first part. We discussed the pollination, its importance, and all. Second part we discussed the pollination, the fineness in that pollination, variations in that. Just highlights, not that it is. You can go and talk one semester on this. Okay. Now, what if there are no pollinators? That's the question. Now, before that, let us look at our daily life. Most of us are from middle class or lower middle class, whatever it is. And if you actually, those youngsters who are here, you ask your papa and mama, on what you spend more money? Is it on rice or on the vegetables and other things, vegetables, fruits and all? Normally, in a normal middle class family, we spend more on vegetables and fruits. Okay, and you must have seen all the mamas telling that you eat this fruit, no, you will become pink, lips will become pink, you will grow tall, you will, all this kind of things. They spend more money because they, true or false, we will see later. They do that, and probably some of you are brought up like that. In our Jamana, mein, they will not even know whether we have eaten or not. So many children, so many guests. You must have eaten. If he is hungry, he will come and eat it. It was like that. But still, we are gut. So we spend that much money, more than what we eat, heap of rice or whatever you call, on this. So what if there are no pollinators? If there are no pollinators, for your information, most of the vegetables and fruits we get will not be there. To develop these fruits means including vegetable, okay, they have to pollinate. Only once they are pollinated, you will get the hormones secreted there and they will grow as the fruits and vegetables, right? So, problem? I will show in next slides. But people are coming out with solution because we are scientists. We cannot take it lying down. So what we do, we spray hormones. So we get big fruits without seeds. Because pollination is required for seeds. Pollination, that induction is required for developing the fruit. What I did, I am cheating now, the plant. I put the hormones, same hormones, no, which they trigger. I am giving hormones, they will get big para. No, we get 100 rupees, 80 rupees, and it tastes almost like meaty, right? No taste at all. Same here, big custard apples and all. The original taste is not there because you are doing it. It is almost like our poultry chicken. Put a lot of antibiotics and hormones, and then it will come. What they want is ultimately weight to sell, but the taste will not be. Okay, right? So we are losing these fruits and vegetables in your normal process. But everything you are going to apply hormones and get it, okay, but we don't know what are the ill effects of it. How plant hormones can affect human beings, you can ask this question. For that, I can give another lecture. Okay. Maybe at the end, if you have time, you ask, I will give some examples. Right? This is a published paper in Lancet. Lancet is one of the foremost medical journal. Right? I don't know, it is 45 or something. And in that it has been published. How health burden is caused by lack of pollinators. Means lack of pollinator means lack of fruits and vegetables. Okay. What will happen and what has been happening? Here some cases are there. China, India, Russia, Europe, they have taken sector wise, and diet low in fruits, vegetables, nuts, each one color coded. For example, blue is related to fruits, green is related to vegetable, nuts and seeds are related to red. What will happen? And they have also coded what are the kind of diseases based on that color. Means my topic is pollinators and food security, pollination and food security. Here this is also food security. What I am talking is nutritional security. You may be able to fill your stomach with rice and other things, but that's not sufficient. There are other things which are required, which we get through the fruits and vegetables, right? So that will be gone. This is the importance. But how much we give thought to this? Pollinators are important, pollination is important. We don't even bother about it. Okay, right. So this is the story, and this is based on the actual studies which they have compiled. Now let us come. Among the insects, bees are wonderful one. They are the one who do a lot of, whenever we want to say that busyness and all, like bee, right? And you look at this, we are posing actually health threat to these pollinators. What are these things? One, urbanization and land fragmentation. When there are no flowers, there cannot be bees or any pollinator. Deforestation, same case. Monoculture in agriculture. Most of the time what we do, okay, this is more profitable, I plant everything. You know, flowering season is very small, maybe 1 month. Remaining 11 months, what they will eat? You understood, no? So we are depriving their food by doing this monoculture. And interestingly, in agriculture, this paddy, wheat, all those kind of things, they are all wind pollinated. They don't go, bees who don't go there. Okay, that is another story. So that means if you are going only for paddy, you are actually depriving them of their food. Nothing will be there. Right. Chemical pesticides. Of course, a lot of chemists are here. They know most of them are organic chemists too. And inorganic pesticides are also there. Nicotinamides, one of the worst chemicals which kill them. Okay. Normally what they do, what we do, oh, I have some garden and some pests are coming eating away, we put pesticides. Pesticide will not know whether this is a good insect or a bad insect. They kill everything, including pollinators. And finally you say, useless, I put this, no, avre has not come, this one has not come, beans has not come. How it will come? Because there are no pollinators. You understand, no? We want to increase the productivity. We kill the pests with pesticides. In the process, we are killing the pollinators. So we don't get them. Then pathogens, because you put all these things, they lose their immunity. Any small thing can go and affect them. Right? Then climate change, it goes up. Other side, one more which people debate, radiation from mobile towers, which is having, but anything comes like this, these technological companies are more powerful, have more money. Most of the time they know how to argue and commission the work which supports them. This one, but I am not sure. Okay, let me be very frank. I listen to both the sides, but there must be, there cannot be smoke without fire, right? We have to, as a scientist, we have to ask this question. We can ask this question, no, what facilities I have, I am in a college. No, what is there around the tower? Just go on in a particular radius, go and count how many beehives are there. Simple. Or wasps are there, wasp hives are there. Anything we can do. We always think that technology, science means we need to have a big laboratory. Of course, it is required for certain areas. Certain areas, I remember one, I think his name. People were going on. He's an American. He came to India. Our people go around and go and tell that, see, we don't have facility. We don't. He heard for 2 days, 3 days. Then finally, he got fed up. He told students, we were students at that time. Gentlemen, listen. If you cannot do research with a bucket and a blade, you cannot do with a big instrument. Closed. So we have to see what facilities we have, what we can do with intellectual thing. No one can take away. We can design for what we have, and these are fundamental questions. This is related to our livelihood. Why can't we design? Well, we don't think that it is science. My purpose of choosing this topic is that many a times we take it for granted and we don't know what's happening, right? And there is something known as CCD, Coffee Day, right? Coffee Day. It's not that. This is known as colony collapse disorder. All of a sudden, colonies will disappear. They collapse. Okay, bees will disappear. What are the possible causes? Pesticides, pathogens, and nutritional stress. This is another. Because you are already taking away the diversity, they have to depend on only few things. In that few things, all sorts of chemicals will not be there to protect. That is why we have the simplest thing how to protect our health. Increase the diversity of our food, not the quantity. Diversity. You have little of everything. That gives more of a chemical diversity in our body. Okay. Anyway, I will not go into this. Healthy hives and unhealthy hives have been compared. I will not go. Basically, they collapse. If they are affected, they collapse. Right? Now, this is the latest. You see, November 14th. Honeybee lifespans are 50% shorter today than they were 50 years ago. I knew it was a big news. They are approximately worked based on the publications in 1970s. They calculated that average 34 days they will survive, each bee. Now they have calculated somewhat 17.7, let us say 18 days. How colonies will survive? Who will take care of those broods? Who will feed them? The social behavior of bees. They are known as eusocial insects. Okay, they have division of labor. Unlike us, we have to do everything. Right? They have division of labor. That is why they are very successful. Right? Okay. Since you are all from, I thought I will not emphasize on this. I thought maybe someone will be there who will not understand plants and but now mostly you are science people. So we'll go into it quickly. Nothing. There are a few things here. First one, they have noticed due to climate change, the flowering time and emergence of the pollinators, there is a wide gap. If someone has to pollinate, they have to coincide. Now the wide gap is widening, so there will not be pollination. 1. 2. Here also you can see flowering time and the flight time of the pollinators. This was earlier, now this is the case. They got separated. You see the peak. Okay? The magnitude of the flowering time is the red one, the lower one, and the black one is flight time. So that peak is entirely different. Means, oh, I was waiting for you till 5 o'clock. No, my dear, I came at 5:30. Means you missed already. I said yes to someone else. Over. But here the problem is there are no other pollinators. Because most of the time, these are the ones which have been evolutionarily together to do this mutualistic interaction. Right? So, same thing, I will not go into this. Like this, there is a mismatch happening. So, the mutualism is collapsing. Okay? This is interesting. Due to climate change and various reasons, sometimes the flower length will be smaller or bigger. Same way, tongue length of the bees are also shrinking. These are the based on actual studies. 30 years gap in between. The length of the bees, tongue of the bees are reducing in each species. So they are not able to pollinate the longer flower ones. That means in evolutionarily what will happen, long flowered one will be reducing because they are not getting pollinated, seeds are not produced. Shorter ones will be proliferating. That is how the dynamism of vegetation changes. What time I am supposed to stop? I started at 3:15, I think. Okay. This is also same, different studies. I think I got the point. So before everyone leaves the hall, then I will finish. Right? Now you look at this. Climate change is happening. Okay, how to explain? During summer, we go to hill stations. Why do we go? Because it's cool. And how it happens? Generally, as you climb 180 meters, on an average, 1 degree centigrade temperature will be less. Okay, right. So each plant, each animal has its own range where to occupy. Some 30 years ago, they have seen they were dense in particular altitude, 3,600 to 3,800. Since climate change is happening, their 1 degree centigrade has gone up. So in higher altitudes, the original temperature has come. Okay, where it was 28, now it is 29. Where it was 27, now it is 28. So earlier, wherever dense flowers were there, now they have gone down. Wherever there was less flowers, now it has gone up. Okay, that means pollinators also have to shift accordingly. You see how many parameters are operating in nature just for a single pollination, so that we get some benefit as vegetables and fruits. Okay, right. Okay, there is something known as hand pollination. It's very simple. You have some tenli or taushi or something you are growing at home. Take one camel brush, go take the pollen, go and do that. You will get plenty. All of them will be pollinated. All of them will give fruit. But if you are going to an apple orchard like this, you know, one bee can pollinate some 10, 20 flowers in a minute. And it can reach the tip of the branch. Can you do that? By the time you pollinate one branch, it will be 1 month. The season will be over, flowers will be falling down. You can't do that. It's not practicable. Okay? So people go for hormones and other things. But some enterprising Americans have come out with a different solution. What is that solution? You look at this. These are beehives. I have some 200 or 400 acres of apple orchard. I call these guys. Okay? And somewhere around January 25th, my orchard will be blooming. Please come. Okay, tell me 3 days in advance. I am blocking that, range. So again, 3 days or 2 days before, you tell him, okay, it's about to flower, you come. He will put all the beehives in his air-conditioned truck, travel 3,000 kilometers across US. Wherever orchard is there, he will put these beehives. They pollinate. He get plenty of crop of apples. Nice idea. Good business. But he has to pay to this bee guy because he has got air conditioned truck, big truck, his energy. He has put, especially now with the Russian Ukraine, this one fuel price has gone up. He has to spend more, right? And he will get free honey. That is not counted. That is mine. I am doing service for you. You pay this much. He will pay happily because he is getting plenty of apples. Then you put that cost on the apples. We buy. Okay. You go to Delfino's, wherever it is, 360 rupees kg, which is harvested 1 month ago, wax coated, and you go home and cut it. Inside it will be brown. Then you throw it. And people say sideways, "Arey, over Gaunti, no, Kelly, Kelly, apples from Shimla or Chile or New Zealand." We do this. You see, how the economics is controlled. Okay. Ultimately, who suffers? Common people. Common people think that pollination, and I am not aware and I am not interested. It doesn't matter to me. It matters because we don't teach this as a science. We think that we are far away from these things. What matters is, oh, okay, now what is that? Sale is coming. Republic Day sale in Amazon and all. New Apple, whatever it is. We look forward, how much discount we get. We are not interested in this. Also, these are the problems. Okay, right. Another thing, fragmentation. Earlier there was continuous vegetation. Bees can go from one patch to another. Now 2 miles there is nothing in between. It cannot fly. It doesn't know whether there is something that side or not. So how the gene flow will be there? That's what we thought, discussing initially, evolution, how we are all different, how it has happened. Now we are restricting to small patch, and that is not enough. And one lady, now she is lady, she was girl long time back. I was her examiner. She used to conduct pollination studies in evergreen forest. Night time, she will be alone on the tree top where all around elephants and tigers are there. Wonderful. I was lucky to be the examiner of that thesis. And she has noticed that over the period, in a cycle of 1 year, bees migrate from lower level to the altitude and come back. And it coincides with the flowering, bimodal flower. Okay. Now, if there is a gap where they will migrate, so we are losing everything. That is another. This fragmentation and all. Now, see, because of this, there is less diversity. The flowers are available only in one season. Now I am going for, I am a beekeeper. Remaining months, what I have to do, I have to put some jaggery water for them so that they can survive. Then what benefit you will get? So you destroy, then you say that I am not getting any profit. How you will get it? Okay. Okay. Monoculture versus polyculture. Monoculture means growing only one type of crop. Polyculture means many. Okay. You see the abundance. Anything you take, wild bees or whatever bees, this is monoculture, this is polyculture. Diversity, abundance, everything will be very high, whatever bee you take. So we have to go for that. Okay. Right. Now I am just hurrying up. Indian honeybees, we don't have count. There are about close to 800 species, and these are the important species. And one of them is this. It is introduced, European or Italian bee. That is the one most of the people go for. They are not for this. They eliminate. There is hybridization taking place. Some native bees are losing their originality. All these things happen. Okay, right. Then, and apart from this, this is again in 2022. 5 new species of bees have been described from India. One side we don't know about them, we are still describing. Another side we are losing them, and one more side we have introduced the foreign one, which are actually creating havoc with hybridization. They also fight. There are a lot of things. Okay. This is what we know most of them. Lantana, Parthenium, what is it, Microtropilis, Eupatorium, Chromalena. Worst weeds. Why? Now no, small flowers will be in bunches. These are small flowers, they are in bunches. And these bunches are forming bigger bunches. You see. This is a bunch. And like this, there are several bunches. If one insect visits this, just it has to turn around and put its tongue everywhere. It will get. Otherwise, it has to fly to some other flower. Now, there is one native species which are having individual flower, and this which is having bunch. Where it will go? Like we buying Chinese item. Any item you take 99 or 90 rupees. For 1000 rupees, you get 10 items. Whereas our people will sell one item for 1000 rupees. We go there and buy. It's like that. So ultimately what happened, you are denying the pollination process for the native species because of this, and this will proliferate. They will not produce seeds. Over the period, they will diminish. You understood? So these are all the problems, and this leads to ultimately when you are not getting good vegetables and fruits, especially nutritional insecurity, which is also part of the food security. I call insecurity. What these people will do, and most of the diseases, no, all those things happen here. Then you read this one migration. Migration due to various reasons. One of them in search of jobs and food. Okay, this is one of the major causes. Food insecurity pushes global migration, and this has happened earlier. See, normally we see, earlier, now everyone is there from everywhere. Earlier, most of the labor work was done by people who come from North Karnataka in Goa. Those who remember will know. And interestingly, they are all having their lands there. They are having more lands than a Patram who gives a job to him here. But there is no water. So they cannot produce food. You understand? You may have everything, but food is very important. So they come here as, they used to come here as migrant laborers. Of course, now from everywhere, everyone is coming. And this is the war. And because of this, of course, it leads to conflicts. It leads to internal civil wars. And because of this, people go in illegal ships and boats. And gory scenes, the photographs, what we have seen. Another pollinator is connected to this. That is also one of the reasons. Of course, here is the water and other factors also. Okay, food is very important. That is the point. I think. Okay. Now, people are aware. Of course, in advanced countries, they have endangered pollinators and their habitats, workshops, talks, all those kind of things, walks, everything goes on. Who is sponsoring? That's very interesting. Please cut it later when you are, if at all you are putting. Look at this. Syngenta, the chemists will understand who these people are. Okay. It is the same people who produce, who contribute to our food security by producing pesticides so that we can kill the pests and produce more. Okay, I'll put it that way. Right? So interesting. Now, last, teach my language, don't worry about that. It is a Tirkural. What it says, we talk about security of the country. Along LAC, every day some incursions, our people drive Chinese troops and other things, other sides, some terrorists. We kill them and they kill our troops and happening. But there is much more security, one more security, that is internal security. Internal security can be assured only through first food. On empty stomach, you cannot talk philosophy, or you cannot talk nationalism, or you cannot defend your own country. Internal security is very important. For that, food security is very important. And what it says is, it talks about ecology. Clear water, healthy soil, hills and shade-giving forests constitute defense or fortification. If all these things are there, your pollinators will be there. You will get your vegetables, you will get your fruits. You are fine. That's what it says. This was written several centuries ago. Okay, we don't understand many times. We think that that is enough, but this is everyone's responsibility. Especially here, more teachers are there. It is also our responsibility. It's not only science students who have to do this. Everyone has to realize. Science students are not the one who are going to cut the trees and this one. Everyone is involved in that. Science, no science, doesn't matter. So that is the importance of this lecture. And thank you very much. Uh, this is about the pollination and food security. I made it very condensed because I wanted to start from the fundamentals and go here. But we have to realize one thing. This is science. This is also science. And this is citizen science. This is more essential science because it involves food security. Thank you very much. Now, any questions? I know that. Couple of questions or questions from couple of students. Yeah. Baba, you got up. No, you want to go out. Yeah, please.
Because I am from physics.
Yes.
One of the slide you had mentioned about the flowers color and how the colors changes in UV light. Okay, and the insects see in UV light. My question is that how do we know
How insects see?
how insects see?
This is the question. See, there are a lot of experiments uh, uh, to prove this. Okay, this has been done long time ago. And how do we know that some people are color blind even before this one? You see, now we say, do you see this color? No. Yeah, I see it is black. Actually, it is red. You know, we can make out it is color blind. But even before that, people know that. You know, it is like that. The experiments have been conducted and they have done it. And there are a lot of studies to show how the pigments change. Okay. And there are interesting. Just now, one physics professor, when I was talking about it 2 days ago, he sent one paper. What happened? First, in one flower, female will be there, nectar will be there. Then once it is pollinated, the nectar dries up. Then it takes some time for the male flower to come. At that time, the disc color will become pink from orange. Then again, when the male part opens, then again it becomes orange. Uh, Okay, then the nectar also is there. It is an indicator for that. Sent by a physics professor. So I was talking like this, he sent. Okay, like this, I have seen one. Please see this. It's wonderful. Yeah, ma'am, you wanted to ask. Yeah. See, these zones and all, when we talk about, we need huge land. But normally, what our elders, ancestors were doing in agriculture, they don't see, though, I have to get the profit from every square inch. They have bunds full of trees. Okay, and there are mixed cultures. Like when we used to cultivate, for example, groundnut, in that till will be there, in that sunflower will be there, in that wal bhaji will be there. So many things will be there. So even within that, we can actually do lot of things. But now, who will do? How much it will give? Or these trees, no shade is coming, so I am losing productivity there, and these birds are sitting there, and they are coming and taking away my paddy. If you think like this, everything, every paisa you want to earn, then you will end up in losses. See, there has to be, you have to really ape, copy the nature. That is the best form of agriculture. But what happened in modern agriculture? Um, we want to increase the productivity, but we don't talk about how much inputs go in there. Our inputs are much more. That is why most of the farmers, not most, many commit suicide. Why do they commit suicide? Because inputs are more and output is very less, contrary to our belief. Ma'am, you are talking, sitting here as a professor. You must go to the field and see the people. They will be up in arms. You are taking away this one, my livelihood, for you what, tax money you are eating, all those things. Everything will be there. See, Being a politician and being government is not easy. You have to take everyone's point into account. Then you have to take a decision. Whichever decision you take, there are 100 opinions. Remaining 99 people will hit you, irrespective of who you are. So it's not that easy. That is why what we have to do, we have to put more and more scientific proofs in local conditions, which we are failing. The purpose is that, no, what I can do, anyone can do anything, even graduate projects can contribute to the data. Only thing, uh, as a teachers, we have to come together, discuss various aspects so that we can work together. For example, physicists and chemists and botanists and then some sociologists, everyone, microbiologists, we all come together. There are the same topic, we can do a lot of work together, including sociologists. So that we don't do. We think that mine is mine, yours is yours. Sometimes yours is also mine. That doesn't. Okay. Yeah. Any other question? You are in. It's okay. Fine. If there are no questions, and I'm thankful to ma'am, principal ma'am. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, and also both DHE and State Higher Education Council. All my friends, I will not take names. Yeah, that organization name will tell them. Right? Thank you very much.
Dear all, that applause does not do justice to how riveting this session was. So I kindly request you all to give a louder round of applause to sir. It was a very wonderful, mesmerizing session. And to show our appreciation to sir, I kindly request our principal, Professor Nicola Samant, to please present him with a memento. Thank you, ma'am. Showing gratitude is one of the simplest yet most powerful things humans can do for each other. I now request Dr. Beena Velekar, Associate Professor from the Department of Chemistry, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, all of you, respected dignitaries on the days and of the days. It is said that gratitude is the riches, and with gratitude in our hearts, on behalf of principal, staff, and the students of Government College Khandola, I thank the Directorate of Higher Education and Goa State Higher Education Council for organizing this series of VIDNYAN DHARA for students of Goa, and also for selecting our college as venue for the inauguration of this event. Secondly, we are indeed privileged to have with us today Professor M.K. Janarthanam, Chairperson, Goa State Research Foundation. Thank you, sir, for your amazing lecture. It indeed it was a thought-provoking and very interesting to learn so many things which we were not knowing about it. I thank Dr. Ashish Knight also and his team. Last and but not the least, I thank Dr. Ashish Knight and his team who worked really hard to make this inaugural function happen. And I thank Principal for giving me opportunity to say a few words of vote of thanks. Thank you so much. Have a very good day. God bless you all.
Thank you, ma'am. With that, we come to the end of today's function. Thank you all for your kind attention. Dev Barekuru. One group photo with all our guests outside at our entrance. Thank you.